Hello everyone and welcome back to some more professional StarCraft 2. Today it's time for some absolute top tier Terran versus Zerg where we find ourselves on Hardwire. Spotting here the bottom left hand corner of the map and playing with the red Terran SCVs from South Korea, we have none other than Maru. His opponent in the opposite corner with the blue Zerg drones, likewise also from Korea, we're looking at Rogue's main base. Now, both Rogue and Maru, some of the absolute best players in all of StarCraft 2. As a matter of fact, I would like to cast them more regularly on the YouTube channel, but sadly, there's not that many replays of theirs available because a lot of the Korean organizations do not release their replay pack. This particular match, however, was, well, I mean, if you're watching this on the day that it goes up, it was played yesterday. This is a match from the grand finals of DreamHack Winter, apparently by far the best game from that finals. So I'm excited to find out exactly what ended up going down between these two because sadly I didn't get to cast those games or watch those games live. Doesn't really matter all too much because it means that I can cover them right here on the YouTube channel instead. Now, Rogue and Maru, I mean, they're both absolute legends, right? Rogue, by the way, just scouting his side of the map, it seems. He went for a hatchery first, and he knows that Maru is very well known to go for a couple of proxy racks on the other side of the map in like a best of 7 series regularly, so he's just making sure he's not getting cheesed. Maru, though, just gonna go for that barracks on top of the ramp, and he will probably follow it up with a command center on the low ground. Now, when we discuss the best players in StarCraft 2 of all time, I think, in my opinion, there should be mostly 3 names that come up more often than the others. Maybe 4. In my mind, it's Serral, Maru, Rogue, and probably Innovation as well. Innovation, now in the military. Officially, he retired from the game. He mentioned as well that he's not going to be coming back after he completes his mandatory military service. But anyways, when it comes to like total earnings, for example, Serral is currently sitting as far as tournament earnings go at $950,000, Maru at $940,000, and Rogue at $935,000. Basically, what I'm getting at, that these 3 players are like 100k ahead of all of the other top-level players, and yeah, they're ridiculously good. Especially Maru and Rogue, they've been playing for like a decade. Serral probably since like 2017, 2018 or so is when he became really good at the game. But yeah, they're both absolute top-tier players, and I mean, if there's anything you take away from this match, is that we are in for some high-level StarCraft. Maru decides to lift up the barracks here. This is a bit of an unorthodox move, especially on Hardwire, where that pillar where the Overlord was hiding on is pretty far away. Now, he does get the vision, and he does kill that Overlord right there with 2 of the Marines. 6 Zerglings, it seems, already are running across the map since there's no Reaper out. The problem is, right, normally you add on a reactor over here, and then you switch it over with the factory, and then you can pump out 2 of those Hellions at once. There's gonna be 1 Hellion coming up right here for Maru, but it's definitely gonna make this a bit of a different opener than what we normally see from the Terran player. That being said, Zerglings right now are inside of the main base. Hello, are we targeting anything, Rogue? He really wants to kill the Marines. Beautiful micro here by Maru. Maru does nothing. Yeah. He killed an Overlord as well as 6 Zerglings right there, bringing the grand total of units killed up to 7 already. Not a bad start right here for the Terran player whatsoever. The issue is, right, and we've seen this quite a bit over the last couple of months in StarCraft, the issue is that his build order right now is a bit of a mess. There's no tech lab, there's no reactor. This is just gonna be, I guess, a random medevac drop with just a bunch of units, so he's gonna go for a reactor eventually, but I'm not entirely sure if that's even gonna be for Hellions. Usually, right, one of the reasons why you want to go for the Hellions is to keep the Zerg player honest. So you make sure that they have at least like a group of Zerglings out. And actually, at this point in the game, there's just Queens and drones. So Rogue is reading this perfectly here. But also, you can usually keep that creep spread nice and contained. And when you don't have a group of Hellions roaming the map and going from like creep tumor to creep tumor, Zerg can technically spread these tumors all of the time. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if this is going to be continuously spread throughout this early game. Okay, so some Zerglings are coming up. What is Maru going for? There's a medevac flying across the map with 1 Widow Mine and then also 5 Marines in it. Fair enough. I think this should be spotted perfectly though by Rogue. As a matter of fact, he's already got 3 Queens inside of the main base. Zerglings should be able to arrive here relatively quickly as well, and that is clean. Maybe an Overlord? Probably not. Nah, Queens are very powerful. Yeah. Look at what Rogue is doing, actually. This is one of the things that, well, actually, maybe he's doing it a little bit differently. I know that both Serral and Raynor have been doing it this way anyway. Where essentially what they do is they have 3 control groups of Queens. So 1 control group for each of the queens that's right next to the hatchery for injecting. Then 1 control group of queens on like the left side, for example, right? To defend this side of the map. And then another group of queens on the right side, or for example in the main base. So they run 3 control groups for the queens. Which I always think is it's kind of cool. I've given it a try in some of my games as well. It's surprisingly tricky to pull off. So usually I end up, you know, when the game gets a little bit more hectic, I just put them all in 1 control group. But it is very powerful in theory. Either way, Maru now also following it up with a couple additional barracks before the 3rd command center. So he's going to have an awful lot of units out. Stimpak is just about to finish. Yeah, he's already going to go for the +1 infantry attacks as well, which is very powerful too. Probably will be following this up with combat shield. Yep, there it is. So he's going to be able to pull a lot of units towards the other side of the map. The issue is, though, that this is going to be some 2-base aggression. There's still no 3rd CC. Normally, at latest, we see that 3rd command center starting up at about 4 minutes, 4.5 minutes or so. Usually, if that's the case, you put it at the front, and a Zergling here has been patrolling back and forth, so I'm pretty sure Rogue knows that at this point he should be expecting some 2-base aggression here instead. Now, the creep spread hasn't been perfect, so Rogue actually might be in some trouble here for that 4th hatch. I mean, he's been busy doing other things, obviously. Can't fault him all too much, but if the creep spread was a little bit further out. Yeah. With a siege tank like this, right? With a siege tank push like this, I don't think he can really go anywhere else. A lot of links are available. He did go for the +1/+1 upgrades here as well before Lair. So no bailing speed or anything along those lines anytime soon here. It does mean that it's going to be difficult here for Rogue to hold on. How many queens are we on? We're already at 10. 2 more queens are coming. So this is definitely more queens than we see Raynor and Serral take. Or make, rather. Oh my god. That huge Widowmine hit right there. Wonderful move for Maru. That's still so many queens are at the front though, and they have a ton of energy. Maybe Rogue has been saving some of that energy on the queens on purpose just for these sorts of moves. Even though I was criticizing the creep spread a little bit. Maybe he's been doing it on purpose just to like make sure that he's got a ton of transfusion energy available. Siege tank here, it's got 9 kills right now. Trying to go around the back, trying to bait this Zerg player off creep, but so far it's not happening. Okay, the 3rd CC is finally just about to finish up. Are we gonna take it over there? I guess so. 4th hatch, though, still in some trouble. 1-1 is done at this point for the Zerg player as well. He's trying to go for the wraparound. Maru, though, maneuvering this army absolutely brilliantly once again. Gets on top of the siege tanks right before the Zerglings could go for the wraparound. And at this point, apparently, he decides to commit. Stimpak is done. +1 infantry weapons is done as well. Maru, yeah, is getting some good, decent traits right there against those queens. And right now, the 4th hatchery also falls. I think that he actually kind of needed to get that kill. Because otherwise, Rogue would be flying in the economy. Instead, right now, it's 3-base versus 3-base. And obviously, supply-wise, I mean, this is an overextension, though, for Maru. Yeah, not entirely sure what he was thinking there. Loses the tank there, the hero siege tank. Don't know how many kills it had, but probably had a good amount at the very least. All right. It's time to pick up the pace. Maru is going to go for his famous double drop harass with that singular push through the center of the map as well. He's very good at that multitasking, but so is Rogue. Love this, actually. Using the little jump-up pad right there for the Reaper to burrow a Widowmine. Vision is going to be granted right here by that Spore Crawler. Good splits as well by the Zerg player, making sure that he doesn't take a whole lot of damage. Are the Queens going to be able to finish off the medevac? They will. Zerglings at the same time also going for a counterattack, it seems. And even though there was an army right there on the left side of the map and an army ready to go push through the center. My god! How did that Widowmine fly like halfway... What? I feel like that Widowmine... if that flew like halfway across my screen. Anyways. Every once in a while they seem to get more range than they normally do. You know what? I mean, I was thinking that this was a pretty good Zergling run by, but all things considered, I mean, he only killed like, what, 2 SCVs? Yeah, 2 SCVs in total. And Maru is still a solid 30 supply ahead. When it comes to the worker count right now as well, actually, it's dead even. Normally, this is the point in the game where the Zerg definitely has more economy than the Terran. So even though this is a bit of a strange start right here for Maru, as far as his build order goes, it seems to be working out just fine. Okay. A little bit of a push right here on the left side of the map. Ugh, not perfect right there on the target firing. Does lose a couple more units there when he wants to. At the same time, actually, Zerglings and Banelings are rolling into the natural and the main base. Bane's even now turned back around. There's also a push going to that newly acquired 4th base of the Zerg player. What? Why are we... Okay. 31, 33 workers are going down. 38 even in total right now. So tons of SCVs have just been picked off. Oh my god. Huge detonation. I want to see that again. Hold up. I'm backing off. What happened here? So this is right as the Zerg player decides to roll into all of the 3 bases at once. Sadly for him, he did right-click right there on the CC. There was a massive detonation there, right here though, on top of the ramp. What exactly did Maru just do? Was it Banelings hitting Widow Mines or something? That's exactly what it was. Alright. So 38 SCVs ended up going down. That's a lot. Maru right now with 30 workers. He does have a significant army supply lead, but a couple of those units do get picked off for free. Triple medevac drop heading towards the main base. There's actually a few burrowed banelings over here accidentally scouting this drop, which is quite nice here, but this is for obvious reasons a phenomenal situation right now for the Zerg player. Even grabbing a couple of the medevacs. Okay, one of the medevacs. Is he really thinking about evacuating? Oh my god, he does. I love it. 7 drones in total end up going down somewhere, but... Okay, Liberator over here ready to pile on some pressure as well. Another Liberator ready to go across the map. In my mind, though, when you kill 30 plus workers, that should be a clear advantage for the Zerg, right? I mean, that's a ton of damage done right there by Rogue. Bunch of workers, though, are being killed as well on the side of the Zerg. How many are we on right now in total? 13. I mean, versus 41. That's really not that great. That being said, it's not like Rogue has that killer of an eco either, right? Rogue lost his 4th base twice. Finally, he got a new one going. It's something, I suppose. He's going into the Hydraling Bane style as well, it seems. A couple of Hydras here, rallied to their graves. 10 additional workers end up going down here. Eventually, Libs will be cleaned up and pushed back, but this is buying a lot of time. Obviously, Maru has got the advantage right here of those mules. The mules definitely give him a solid little income boost, as you can see. Despite the fact that he's got less workers than his opponent, he is actually catching up quite well. So that's what the Liberators are here for, primarily, just to buy some time. Whatever unit he had, he decided to load it up into a Medivac and go across the map. A little bit of a gamble there, but Maru just secured the 4th base as well, and this one is morphing into a planetary fortress. Means it can't lift off anymore, but it is gonna be one hell of a lot more powerful than what we normally see for those orbital commands. Zerglings, though, ready to engage this right before it finishes morphing, and this could be another 30 workers. Okay, well, it's 15 only because there's only 15 there in total. Wonderful move by Rogue. Burrows a Zergling underneath. Grabs a couple of Marines as well on his way out, it seems. This Widowmine over here already has 6 kills. It would like to kill another 30 if it can. Alright. How many workers now? 57. Huge advantage here for Rogue still. My main concern at this point in the game, though, is the fact that Rogue doesn't have that much army. What he does have, though, is killer tech. He's going into a hive right now together with a Lurker Den. And honestly, when you're stuck on a Marine-based army, Lurkers absolutely trash this. This Terran army just can't do anything. Lurkers are phenomenal even against Marauder-based armies, but, Ooh, nice split. Even against... Oh my god, Banelings! 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 Hey, there it is. You need to be paying attention to everything, but at this point, Rogue is just rubbing salt in the wound. Anyways, so... Ideally, right, against Lurkers, and they're not out yet, but ideally against Lurkers, you want to have... Okay, kill right there on that base. You want to have either Ghosts or Liberators. Now, we did already see a couple of Liberators earlier. Maru, in particular, seems to always be very fond... I mean, maybe he doesn't even need Lurkers. He's just running into the base right now. Maru always seems very fond of going for the Ghost army, but at this point, he can't really afford a Ghost Academy or anything along those lines. Lurker range is coming up. +3/+3 is already finishing here for Maru as well, and that is something worth pointing out. It's going to make those Marines very powerful, and as long as they stay out of the line of fire of the Lurkers, it's going to be pretty good. Lurkers, of course, not very fast. They can't be in all places at once unless you have many of them. I mean, 11 is pretty good, though. A Marauder gets added on. Does Maru even know? No, Maru hasn't even seen the main base of the Zerg, so he has no clue that there's already Hive Tech as well as a Lurker Den. Concussive Shells is coming up. I mean, he really needs a Ghost Academy. Without a Ghost Academy, the Lurkers are just gonna wander on over here, burrow right next to the command center and kill it within a heartbeat. And at that point, Maru is gonna run out of money. I mean, the main base is already running low. Natural is pretty much out. Needs to be very cautious. Barely enough Zerglings right over here as well. And now the Lurker army is on the move. Adaptive Talents is also being researched right away, so good timing on that by Rogue. Means that he's going to be able to burrow those Lurkers a little bit quicker. Besides already getting, of course, that ranged upgrade for the Lurkers too. Those are very expensive upgrades, but especially the Adaptive Talents always seems to finish in a heartbeat. Okay, so one Lurker right here on the right side of the map, just being a nuisance. The majority of the Lurkers a little bit further forward. How in the world are you going to defend this, Maru? It's Marine Marauder, Mine, Medivac. Basically all the units that start with an M. Maybe that's his requirement. And there's one siege tank, sorry. He's got 19 kills though, so. It is a bit of a minefield. Lurker Den is even coming up right now too, so I wouldn't be surprised if Rogue wants to maybe go for like a Lurker Den in the main base, get a couple of Lurkers over there. Or sorry, a Lurker Den, a Nidus Worm instead of the main base. Well, here we go. Apparently this is the moment where Terran decides to engage. It is a Concave, but that is a lot of dead Terran units. The Concave obviously does mitigate a lot of that splash damage that these Lurkers are dealing. Maru. Really? Oh my god, Maru, really? Are you breaking through this? What? +3/+3 is very good, huh? There were even Marines in the front right there. I mean, the Concave once again beats the Convex. Pretty sure even Rogue had to do a double take there. He's like, wait a second, you're stimming Bio Army into Lurkers. Isn't that what you're, like, not supposed to do? Maru actually helped that. That's insane. So obviously it was just the angle. Any other geometrical shape. A triangle. I mean, any other shape would have done better for Rogue. I guess he was maybe a little bit overzealous there. Underestimating the strength of that Terran army. Without 3-3, I'm pretty sure that Terran army would have been trashed as well. Either way, there's still a lot of queens available, so it's not like Maru can try and get a tempo lead here very effectively either. Scanner right there does reveal that final Lurker too, and now all of a sudden the Zerg army is moving dangerously deep off creep. Okay. So now it's actually a crazy match. Now this game is turned upside down. From a Terran advantage early, to a Zerg advantage as a follow-up, to right now, I guess, a relatively even game with maybe a slight Terran advantage. The problem is that Rogue never really had a lot of eco to begin with. I think 70 workers is the most we've ever seen him have, and when he keeps trading like this, these fights are no good at all for the Zerg. I mean, they're not cost efficient at the very least. He is already, by the way, going into +3 attack for the missile units over the Hydras and the Lurkers and the Queens. They're gonna pack a punch. One Widow Mine over here. Scouting everything. Accidentally. Might actually get a really good hit in. There you go. It's gonna just fire. Gets a Lurker. I mean, that's pretty good. That is pretty good. Alright, there's Zerglings actually burrowed in all kinds of locations. Keep in mind, there is a Nidus Worm out. Or a Nidus Network done. He's gonna be able to go for a Nidus Worm inside of the main base of the Terran player. I mean, pretty sure this Zerg wants to pop a couple of Lurkers right over here. Kill all of those Terran units as they pop out of those barracks. I can't believe Maru's in this. He was so dead. Okay, these are much better fights though for the Zerg. On creep, these kind of armies just don't trade very effectively at all. Zerg is pooping a little bit of creep right over here at this. I guess he can just barely not lend it. Okay, now he can because the Overlord had to move. I actually really like that Rogue is using little burrowed Zerglings here and there just for scouting. He knows what's going on. He knows what to expect and where that Terran army is moving. Widow Mine drop. 2 very low hit point Widow Mines though. Moving on over towards this side of the map. Gets deflected. Terran army right here on the right side as well. Lurkers, though, are going to be available here, and this is what you're looking for, right, as a Zerg. There you go. That's those Terran armies very quickly wiped out. Couple of Widow Mines in the middle of the map! Okay, my god, they burrow fast, don't they? Widow Mine drop once again, coming in for more. These are the low HP ones, and they actually do burrow in time. Okay, decent amount of damage done. Nidus Worm inside of the main base here as well for Rogue. Rogue doesn't really have any units in here, though, and I think that actually the Terran player should be able to push this back relatively easily. At the same time, Zerglings going to town right there on the SCVs, but nice micro right there by Maru. Pulls it back. Nidus Worm in the main base did get denied, by the way, so that's something. These guys, they're very closely matched. If you look at the supply count, Rogue has actually been behind for quite some time. Not sure if that's necessarily the end of the world, though, because, I mean, he really needs some more workers. I would love to see the Zerg player sitting at like 80 workers here. I think with 80 workers, this would be so much more playable. Nidus Worm, by the way, is done. A couple of lurkers are popping out. Are we going to try and harass the high ground base? I mean, the lurker spines can shoot there. Yeah, with Overlord Vision, works out just fine. Good pull right there by Maru, though. Keep in mind, these guys are playing extremely fast. Average actions per minute right now are getting up to the 400s. It's about 8 buttons a second. We're getting there. I would like to see a Ghost Academy. I can't believe we don't... Well, like, we still don't have one, do we? I might be mousing over it without seeing it, because, you know, this is me casting, but... I tend to miss things. Maru just gonna go for Marine Marauder, matter of fact, mine. There's finally the Ghost Academy. Okay, thank you, Maru. Very late. He's gonna try and come in from multiple angles here, but the Zerglings and Banelings are still obviously very powerful. Is there no adrenal glands? Oof. No adrenal glands on the Zerglings is actually very painful here. That does make it a little bit trickier here for the Zerg. Basically, it makes the Zerglings fire or attack less often. Queen right over there actually gets fired down. Okay. So now the Ghosts are coming out. Nidus Worm right here on the right side of the map again. Drop in the top left-hand corner. Will be able to kill this hatchery pretty quickly, although he does need to be careful because the lurkers, I mean, these bio units are already low hit points. Okay. Nidus Worm is done. Main base also now sending in another worm. Maru is everywhere. Even though his army was much smaller earlier, it still felt like he was everywhere out on the map. I'm actually starting to become a little bit worried, though, for Rogue. Despite the fact that he killed, like, what, 50? 75 SCVs. Now a Ghost is like, the Ghosts are being added into the mix right here for the Terran player, right? And okay, good pull right there. Maru not gonna fall for that same trick again. The problem is, right, Ghosts essentially hard counter all of the big hitting units right here from the Zerg player for now. The best counter to Ghost is usually Ling Bane. If you look right now at resources lost, though, you can see how that Ling Bane army has been doing so far. There have been way more losses on the side of the Zerg than that of the Terran. And since Rogue doesn't have a good amount of economy here to begin with, I'm starting to be a little bit concerned once the Ghost starts sniping down those lurkers. I mean, these fights are obviously pretty good for the Zerg. Once again, it's all about those geometrical shapes. But yeah, Ghosts, if they can take care of the lurkers, everything else will just be killed by Marines, Marauders, and, well, I guess Mules and SCVs, right? Mule's another unit with them. Marine Marauder, matter of fact, Mule. Mine. It's the way that Maru plays the game. Okay, Rogue trying to go deep. Lurker over here, though, denying a lot of mining. It's actually quite difficult here for the Terran to take a future base. I guess he could go for the one right here on the right side of the map. Maybe the one right here on the left side of the map. Obviously, for Zerg, it's usually easier to grab those future bases. I think the one in the bottom right makes the most sense. Yeah, that's where he's flying that newly acquired command center right now as well. So 31 workers have been killed by Maru here. And Rogue is still only sitting at 57 drones. I mean, he obviously knows better what he should be doing than me, but I really do feel like he should have made another round or so of maybe 24 workers. I guess at this point, there's not even that many mineral patches to mine from either, though. Yeah, this base over here is oversaturated. The center base is, well, it could hold a couple more, I suppose, but it's not got that many workers either. He can't really add on a whole lot of workers until this base over here is done, and maybe the one right here on the right side of the map as well. So maybe Rogue making this decision is the right call. He did add on a couple of Vipers, which I really, really like. Vipers, of course, can get EMP'd, but if you can abduct a couple of those Terran units or parasitic bomb a couple of the Medivacs, that does definitely add a lot more pressure to the Terran player. Adrenal definitely is hurting here, though. So it's an upgrade right here in the spawning pool. And without Adrenal Glands, it's going to be quite difficult for the Zerg player to really properly deal with this Terran army. +3 melee is actually also missing here for the Zerg. Not ideal. Anyhow. How many ghosts are we on? We're already at 14 ghosts. 17 Marines and 14 ghosts. I just want to emphasize that Maru was dead in the water. And somehow, some way, right now, it looks like he's been in control the whole time. Taking a base right here on the right side. A lurker once again being annoying. Already a couple of bio units, though. We're ready to intercept any of such lurkers. And he's going to be able to do so pretty smoothly. There's finally +3 Adrenal coming up. Or, sorry, +3 melee coming up. I mean, Hydra Lurker Viper is obviously still an extremely good unit composition, right? How many lurkers is that? 15. Okay, so there's as many lurkers as ghosts. That usually is a good sign for the Terran player, though. Ghosts are pretty mobile. They can go around the map pretty easily, especially instead of Medivacs. A little bit of creep denial right here on the left side of the map. Banelings rolling into Marauders. Not really what you want them to do, but Rogue is going to be able to clean that up easy peasy. One of the ways, though, that Zerg can definitely win this game is by taking control of the map a lot more, right? So that's what he's been doing well so far in this match. Terran right now up to a good amount of economy. He actually decides to roll forward right here. This is a very expensive set of units, and I don't know if I agree with that. What I'm trying to get at is that other than this base over here, Terran can't really expand that many locations. So he just took the base all the way in the bottom right, and I think the base, yeah, a little bit further up north is also something he can acquire. But Rogue is mining every single base on his side of the map soon. And obviously that means that, yeah, if he can, you know, mine an entire extra base over his Terran opponent, because I think this one over here on the left side is going to be very difficult for the Terran player anyways. Yeah, if he can mine an entire extra base, that obviously does make a difference over the course of the next 10 minutes or so. Alright. The Zerg and the Terran right now accidentally becoming next door neighbors. They didn't want it either, but hey, it is what it is. Building armor coming up here for Maru as well. I kind of like it. It makes sense. It's going to make it harder for the lurkers to just walk over here and kill. I mean, I would like to see this lurker army walking over here and trying at the very least to Nidus. Right now, though, Maru is setting up shop right over here, killing the Nidus Worm and everything, too. Nidus Worm on the left side of the map as well. Wouldn't be surprised to see a Nidus Worm going into the main base again, with this Overlord becoming quite ambitious. This is technically one of the bases of the Terran. If Rogue can mine it, that's obviously phenomenal. Now, if this can turn into a split map scenario, where Maru takes all of the bases on his side of the map, that's for obvious reasons a massive advantage for the Terran. Good trade right here with those bio units. A nuke is coming up. Alright. Doesn't happen often at this stage in the game that we see a tactical nuke also researching for Maru. But I kind of like it. Okay. Ghost trying to see if they can get some good snipes in. He wants to get a better engagement here. Need to be very careful though, because one spine of those, or one line of those lurker spines can change the tide of battle very quickly. Spore Crawler in front as well also makes a lot of sense. Base on the left side of the map. Maru's base, technically, right? That one's, well, being taken by the Zerg. How many ghosts are we on? Because he's still making them. Okay, he's at 16 right now. Now more ghosts than Marines. By a factor of 2 almost. Rogue probably realizes that he's not likely to... Oh, well, no council on that one. He's not likely to mine that base. Either way, are we gonna nuke? We are. Tactical nuke is being deployed. After a couple of... Oh my god. Okay, well, after a couple of seconds, assuming the ghost lives, and that one popped in like 1,000 pieces, it would land the nuke right over here. So that's 100 minerals, 100 gas down the drain, but I'm pretty sure he did manage to get one of those lurkers down. A couple of Widow Mines over here as well. No, Rogue not expecting a Widow Mines at this point. Taking some really big hits. Planetary Fortress is not going to live for very long, saving the Banelings on it. I like it. Banelings instead moving on over towards that other base, or at the very least he was thinking about it. If he can grab those ghosts, that would be phenomenal. But once again, Maru just walking this army slowly but surely backwards. I'm assuming he's got Cloaking Field on him. He does not actually, so these ghosts are actually kind of vulnerable. Widowmines, though, eventually are taking care of most of this stuff. Banelings over here also stuck in a choke point against one hero. Marauder, it looks like. My god, Maru SimCity worked out just barely here. Don't know if that was intentional, but 20 SCVs still end up dying. And right now, actually, Maru is running out of money. He's got some mineral patches over here. He's got the mineral patches in the bottom right, but that's the last of it. Rogue started mining this base later, so yeah, he's still got some fresh resources over there. Plus, he's still mining the base on the left side of the map fully as well. That being said, army supply right now, leading here by Maru, or Maru is leading the army supply count. Okay. Rogue decides to evacuate this base on out of here as well. 34 additional Banelings are coming up. Not bad whatsoever. Okay. Hatchery goes down. Zerglings and Banelings, though? No, just Zerglings this time around. Are going in for a counterattack. Honestly, the lack of adrenal glands here is really hurting my Zerg soul. It's an easy oversight, but it's 40% or so attack speed for Zerglings, and it makes them so much more powerful in these engagements. Maru not really upgrading his siege tanks or liberators or anything along those lines either. Widowmines obviously are technically considered spellcasters, so attack upgrades for the mechanical units don't actually benefit. They're magicians, okay? If you look at a Widowmine, you might not think of it as a magician, but that's what it is. They're wizards. Terran wizards, anyway. Oh my god. Well, Orbital Command even gets picked off here, but that was a very expensive set of units right here for the Zerg player to lose. How many lurkers do we have? 0! No lurkers available. No lurkers available. I mean, honestly, at this point, it doesn't really matter all too much, right, I guess, because of the ghost count. Well, he decides to add on 10 lurkers. I was thinking maybe if you just go more Ling Bane, it might be doable as well, but that's where those Widowmines, once again, come into the mix. Okay, Maru now actually building a command center on location. He realizes how economically desperate this is starting to be. Rogue leaving his foot off the gas for a little bit. Trying to see if he can maybe stabilize on 2 bases. Once again, grabbing the expo right here on the left side of the map, but Maru has a sensor tower and he can just see that there's a little blip on his radar. Already, the Marauders are marching in that direction, followed by a couple of Marines, and that hatchery is not really going to happen. At the same time, though, it seems like it's mostly just a distraction. Nice abductions right there, actually. Rogue is going to be able to grab a bunch of those ghosts. This over here is dealing a lot of damage, though. Yeah, those snipes are absolutely phenomenal. Apparently that bio army, though, rather than just killing the hatchery, decided to move further forward as well, and now killed actually one of the last mining bases here of the Zerg player. Rogue decides to run up the ramp once again. He's got a base over here, but Rogue at this point is pretty much broken. Yeah, there it is. GG is cold. It is gonna be Maru who obtains the victory in this epic game of Terran versus Zerg. The man was dead like 4 times. I have no idea how he lived through that. Anyways, if you made it all the way until the end of this video, please hit the like button down below. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. But for now, have a great day. Don't forget to smile. And I'll see you once again in the next one.